This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. Okay, praise God, and welcome to our session, iPad for All Computing. This is Pages Week. We are going to have 3 sessions on Pages this week, the third one being an experience lab. Pages, as you know, is the word processor, but it's so much more than just a word processing app. It's also a page layout app. We talked about desktop publishing a little bit last week. If you did not have opportunity, please go back and listen to our session on Freeform. And you might say, well, I don't plan to use Freeform. Well, that's okay. But we did a nice discussion at the beginning of that session about word processing documents versus page layout or desktop publishing documents. We did a nice discussion about the need for text boxes in certain kind of documents and templates. And that's all going to come into play when we get into more advanced things in Pages. Pages is one of those apps that handles multiple types of documents. And if you are creating something like, shall we say a flyer? No, let's not say a flyer. If you were creating something like a letter that you wrote to someone, or a report, or a resume, or a book where it's mostly text, any of those kinds of things, you got it placed. Those would be word processing documents, and they're free flowing. So you literally can just start typing, and that's what I'm going to show you today. And the document will automatically just continue to flow. If you're writing 1 page or if you're writing 180 pages, you just keep typing. No big deal. But there also is the page layout type of document where you need to put text boxes. And we won't be getting into that today. We may get into it a little bit tomorrow. It's going to be more useful for us in things like Keynote and Numbers. But a lot of the templates that you'll find in various apps like Pages, they do require the use of text boxes. And in some cases, it's because it's necessary, right? So if we have a page layout template, now what would that be? That'd be something like a brochure, maybe a restaurant menu, maybe a flyer, a banner, a graphic novel. These kinds of things are going to have text boxes for their text. They're not going to free flow. And the reason, again, for that, just to review, is because then I can easily move that text around. I don't have to copy and paste and hope that it looks good. No, I literally can just drag that text box anywhere I want to go. And sometimes even word processing templates will use text boxes because it's just easier. That way you know that the text is going to work with the logo and photos and so on that you might put in it. Now, for us who are perhaps blind or visually impaired, it can become a bit tricky because we are not used to operating in that environment. Now, VoiceOver makes it accessible. You can use page layout templates with VoiceOver, but do you really know if your text box is the right size, if your text looks good, And VoiceOver will try to help you, but you kind of need a pair of eyes on that, Maybe someday that will change with AI. I don't know. But as of right now, I always recommend, you have a pair of eyes on that. When we use Keynote for presentations, you have to use text boxes in Keynote. You don't have a choice. But as I said last week, with slideshow type presentations, you usually are not writing very much in each text box, right? Because if we learned one thing from Little Up, it was that when you make slideshow presentations, you don't tell the whole story on the slide, right? You write short bullet points. If I'm writing a slideshow about a vacation that I took, maybe I would say my beach vacation, and then I'd have, a bullet point, warm weather, and then I'd put a photo of everybody wearing shorts and short sleeve shirts, And I'd say another bullet point might be beautiful water. And then I'd have maybe ocean sounds and a picture of the waves. And so you're not writing the whole story. You're standing up and narrating the story while people look at the slides. Because of that, you're putting less text into the text box. And so you really don't typically have to be concerned about the text box being large enough or whatever. It usually just will be. So now that I've given you that little overview, I'm going to tell you that for today, we're not going to work with text boxes. We're going to work with basic word processing. I want to show you how to get into Pages. I want to show you how to start writing immediately if that's what you want to do. And I want to look at the rest of the Pages interface because it's going to be important to know. We talked about the Files app last week also. Again, if you haven't had a chance, go back and listen to that, please, because you want to make sure you understand the Files app. Pages is fully integrated with the Files app, or maybe I should say the Files app is fully integrated with Pages. There is a Pages library in iCloud, or in other words, a Pages folder in iCloud. So you can use iCloud with Pages and create your documents on one device, and they show up on all the rest, and you edit on one device, and those edits are, made across the board on all of your devices. And so it's beautifully integrated with iCloud, just like really everything that Apple does, right? And it also works with, third-party file services and things of that nature. Because there is a version of the Files app kind of right inside of Pages, you can, rename, you can create subfolders, you can do everything you want to do inside of the Pages app as well. And what we're even going to see is that there is a version feature that will allow you to restore to a previous version. Maybe I changed a couple sentences and I don't like the way they are now, so I can restore back to a previous version where I had them the way I like them or something. With Pages, it's quite different from what you might be used to if you have worked on a Windows PC or something where you have to do save as, and then you have to remember to save and all that stuff. There is no such thing as save as on iPad, really. It's just save, and you will give it a name. You can rename the file. If you need to keep the original, you can duplicate and then rename one of the copies. So you can do all those same things that save as enables, but the language is just different, so it's a little less confusing. Pages will auto save for you, so you don't really ever have to be concerned about saving. It just does it for you in the background. And again, there's versioning if we need it. So beyond that, it's a full-fledged word processing and page layout app. And we're going to try between today and tomorrow, and maybe even a little bit on Wednesday, to show you some of that. And you're going to get a chance to see how it all works. I would encourage you that it's going to work beautifully with VoiceOver. This is one of those times when it's going to make a lot of sense to use a mechanical keyboard. You can certainly use Pages without a mechanical keyboard, but because there's so much on the screen, you can get to a situation where the VoiceOver cursor and the insertion point are not in sync with each other, and that can make it appear as though it's tricky to navigate. And there are ways of dealing with that, but I think that this is a great chance to use the keyboard. So I'll be using my Magic Keyboard Folio with my iPad A16 here, praise God, for a lot of this. All right. That's enough preamble. Let's begin the screen share. Great crowd here, praise God. And let's start the screen share. Here it goes. Okay. Now the next thing we'd like to do is get the original sound going so that you can hear VoiceOver.
All right. Sound button.
You should hear that button. Now. Great. Now we're ready to go.
Contacts.
Praise God.
Video,
So,
YouTube, page 2 of 5.
My Pages app is on this page.
Freeform, Mac, Apple Clips, GarageBand, iMovie, Keynote, Numbers, Pages.
There it is.
Double tap to open.
And I will open it up.
Pages. Pages.
If this is your first time ever opening Pages on your iPad, you will get a welcome screen, and um, there's some things like that. But I'm already past that onboarding experience, and now what I have on the left side,
220. Pages, items, pages file, vertical scroll, zoom, video,
now what I have there, that zoom picture in picture.
pages, more, but, brush, recent,
Okay.
pages, start writing, button,
The very first thing we have,
pages,
the title of the app,
start writing, button,
and there's a button there that says Start Writing. If you don't want to mess with, and I don't mean mess with because they're very useful at times, but sometimes you don't want to do a template. You just want a blank template, a blank document, right? You don't need any of that other stuff. You just want a blank document to start writing. That button right there is your friend, because you just double tap on Start Writing,
button,
which we'll do in a few minutes, and you will see that it will just immediately open up a blank word processing document for you. Now, there is a button to the right here.
Choose a template, button.
And we will also demonstrate that either today or tomorrow. That will allow us to pick what type of template we want. We can still do a blank one, but there's a lot of other things we can do. Letters, reports, brochures, all sorts of stuff there. Now, as we continue swiping to the right,
toggle sidebar, button.
The sidebar is hidden. We really don't need it right now.
Recents, tab, shared, tab, browse, tab, 3 of 3.
Now, where have I heard that before? Well, you might remember that from the Files app. Remember, I told you it's like the Files app is integrated right into Pages. And so what I have here are those 3 ways of viewing my files so that I can open existing Pages documents if I want to do that. So I think I'm on Recents. Let's keep swiping to the right.
More, button, search, button, iPhone PT5, Pages file, 4/30/25, 11:23 a.m. with Edward Volbrecht.
Now, a couple of things I want to point out here. When, excuse me, when you look at your recents in Pages, it's not going to show you all of your recents. So I'm not going to see the same thing here as I would see in recents in the Files app itself, because I know that I have opened things more recently than that, but they've been like audio files and PDFs and stuff that's not going to show up here. These are recent Pages files specifically. And so notice that this one also said it's a shared file with, it said Edward Volbrecht.
iPhone PT5, Pages file, 4/30/25, 11:23 a.m. with Edward Volbrecht.
And you know by now about real-time collaboration. We've talked about it in Notes and other apps. And that's what this is. I've collaborated. I wrote a document and asked my mom to review it and make sure that it looked good and everything. So she's a collaborator. That's why it says with, and it's actually my dad's name there. But you also have long press actions and rotor actions on this, right? But we can just double tap it if we want to open it. So this is how you open an existing document. This is what's known officially as the document manager, because you can view all of your documents here. It really looks like the Files app, but it lives inside Pages, and it's called the document manager. And so what we have here is all of our existing documents. I have it showing recents. We can also browse different folders and so on, just like in Files, but I'm doing recents, and so this is going to just be Pages documents. I can keep swiping through these.
Tax info 25, Pages file, 4/30/25, 11:22 a.m., 115 kilobytes. Fourth man, Pages file, 4/13, icon descriptions, Pages.
Okay, and any of these that I want to open up, I just double tap them and they open. I also have, as I said, long press actions or rotor actions, and I imagine if it's like the Files app, they're probably the same. But let's do that as an example.
Fourth man.
Here's a Pages document called Fourth Man, and I will long press it.
Copy. Start writing.
Go back to the
Pages. Choose a template. Copy. Button. Move. Button. Share. Button. Remove download. Button. Keep downloaded. Get info. Rename. Duplicate. Versions. Button. Show an enclosing folder. Tags. Button. Delete. Dismiss context menu.
So notice you hear a lot of the same things that you heard in the Files app. Rename, share, copy, duplicate, delete, tags. But notice something you didn't hear in the Files app: versions.
Versions button.
There it is. That's what I told you about. Remember how I said we can have multiple versions of the same document and we can view them together and then take something from one and use it in the other, or restore to another version and so on. So that's the option for that. We're not going to go into great detail about that, but that's where that is located. All right, so let's dismiss this.
Choose attempt copy share. Choose attempt
I want
pages.
to actually go down to the bottom.
Dismiss context menu.
Okay, now
pages.
Again, if I had just, that was long press, if I had just double tapped on that, it would have opened the document in Pages for me. And we will probably demonstrate that, within the next day or so. But let's begin now. So I've shown you kind of some of the recent, and how to access existing documents and so on. What if we just want to start writing? Because some of you may have never even opened Pages before. You say, we'll get to the, the writing part. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to hit Start Writing up at the top here.
Pages. Start Writing button.
And as I promised you, we won't have a template choice or anything. It's just going to open up a blank document.
Dimmed. Pages. Screen view is on.
Okay. It told us that screen view is on. I don't think I want that. Trying to remember. I think I like that off. Let's go in and take care of that right off the bat.
Screen view is on. Return. Selected. Okay. Insert chart. Insert. Undo. More. Reading view. Button. Canvas. Screen view on. Text field is editing. Character
I really think I want that
insertion.
off. I'll explain what it is in a moment.
More.
To get it off, we go to the More button.
Canvas. Outdent. More. More. Button. Find button.
And we're just gonna
Smart annotation. Change presenter selected. Screen view button.
We're just gonna turn that off.
Body text screen cap P.
Okay.
Screen canvas body screen view is all canvas body vertical.
Now see, it says it's off. So I don't even know that would really matter when I start using the keyboard in a moment. But what screen view does is it kind of alters the way the document looks to more appropriately fit the size of the screen of the device that you are using. And so it will allow for you to work differently with your document. One case you might be scrolling through the document. One case you might see things side by side. And it's going to vary depending on whether you're using an iPhone or an iPad or something. What happens with screen view is that from a voiceover perspective, it kind of makes it so that almost every sentence or two, you have to swipe to the right. It puts like each sentence almost in a separate screen element. And that can be good and it can be not so good, right? And it's truly going to come down to personal preference. All right, let me be very, very clear. There's no right or wrong here. It's not like one of those screen reader things where it's like, which setting do I have to use for this to work? No, that's not really a thing with VoiceOver ever, right? It's always personal preference, your choice. But part of me thinks I like it because remember how I described earlier that sometimes the cursors can get out of sync with each other, the insertion point and the VO cursor? Well, that won't happen if you use screen view, okay? That's true. They won't. But you're always going to have to swipe to the right. Like you can barely move through like a sentence or more, and then you're going to have to swipe to the right to go to like a new block of text almost. And again, I don't know that that'll matter when I start using the physical keyboard, but if I'm navigating on screen, I don't really care for that. Again, that's strictly personal preference. You might find that you like it. Right now, you might not even understand it because I'm sort of not sure that I'm thoroughly explaining, conveying what it is. I would encourage you to try it with and without it and note the differences that you experience and then see what you like. Again, when we start using the mechanical keyboard in a moment, I'm not even sure it matters. So I've turned off screen view. It's under the More menu if you choose to do that. Now, what I want to do is show you around this app a little bit. Right now, you are in the canvas, which is the document, and you literally can start typing immediately.
Return.
See, I've got an on-screen keyboard.
Cap L.
You can hear that.
Lima.
So, start writing literally brings you up to the canvas. In just a few seconds, you're ready to write. And again, you can use your external keyboard You can use an Apple Pencil. You can, use a Braille display, whatever you want to do. And of course, the software keyboard is present on screen. It's here. So now, what we'll do is we'll look around at this app a little bit before we begin to type, but understand that we can immediately type now. The first thing, however, that I recommend that you do is to give your document a name, because if you don't, it's going to end up with a title of whatever the template is that is being used. In this case, it's just a blank document, so it's going to say blank. It's not going to take on the title based on the first line of what you type, like Notes does. In this case, the document name is blank. And if you've done 5 of them, it's blank 5 or blank 6, So in order to avoid that, I want you to give this document a name right away. And you want to remember that for our experience lab on Wednesday. I'm going to say, everybody make sure you name your document. Well, how do we do that? Let's go up to the top left of the screen.
230 pages. View option. Back button.
Okay.
Back button.
At the very top left is the back button. That essentially saves the document, although it's saving in the background anyway. And it brings you back to the document manager where we were a few minutes ago. If you swipe to the right of that back button,
View options button.
you have view options. We'll take a look at that later. Not right now, but we will. Now let's go on though.
Blank 3. Actions menu button.
There is the name of your document, and notice it said actions menu. And notice mine said blank 3. That means I do have 2 others that I've not named at some point in the past. And, maybe someday I'll go and look for them. But anyway, it says blank 3 and it said actions menu. This is where you're going to rename your document. It's also where you're going to do things like print or export your document. So I want to show you this menu. And again, I think this is a good first step to give your document a name. So let's double tap on the actions menu with the name blank, or blank 3 in my case.
Blank 3.
Now, we swipe to the right.
Blank 3. Pages document. Middle dot 88 kilobytes. Document options button. Rename button.
There's rename. That's what we're going to want to do in just a moment.
Move button. Export button. Print button.
Notice we can move this, export it to different formats. We can print out this document.
Outdent, dimmed, indent, out print.
That's really
button.
it, because those other things are not part of that context menu. So let's go to rename.
Rename button. Rename. Canvas, body, text field.
All right, ignore what that's saying and immediately just type your name here, and it's going to replace blank 3. So I'm going to call it Class Test iPad 2025.
Cap C, selection deleted.
Notice it said selection deleted. It had everything highlighted, so it now has deleted blank 3. I only have a C there.
K.
We're going to put C.
L A S S hyphen cap T E S T hyphen I cap P A D dot 2 delete. Page 0 dot 2 T 5.
And on the right, where the return key would be,
Done.
is the done button. All right. Now if I touch the top of the screen and swipe to the right, you'll notice
View options. Class Test iPad 2025. Actions menu button.
we have absolutely renamed this document. Okay, so while we're at it, let's take a look at the rest of the toolbar in this app before we begin typing anything. So if we swipe to the right,
Table of contents button.
that's another way we can view our document, which can be useful if it gets longer. That's not to be confused with an actual written table of contents. We can do that too, but this is just automatically generated.
Insert table button.
Okay, we have some insert options here. We can insert a table,
Insert chart button.
insert a chart.
Insert shape button.
Now, you might remember shapes from the Freeform app. If you don't, if you weren't there or something, remember that a shape is kind of like the equivalent of clip art. So I can insert an image of a cat or a dog, or I can insert an image of I don't know, a taco or a cherry or a loaf of bread or something, all kinds of different, and they have, sports shapes and activities and, electronics, all sorts of things, right? Travel. And so that is where you would insert a shape. We'll look at the shapes gallery later.
Insert media button.
All right, so insert media has a whole bunch of choices that we will look at later as well. But think photos, videos, web video, audio, drawing, all that kind of stuff. All right, keep going.
Share button.
There's the share button. Now that's different from export. Remember, export was in the actions menu or the document menu. This is the share button. This allows us to share collaboratively this document. We can share it collaboratively or send a copy. But collaboration is definitely really awesome because you can do real-time collaborating with other people. Each person can see where the other person's cursor is. You can work together, make changes and so on. And so that's very useful, or you can send a copy in the Pages format. Export will change the format to whatever option you choose from that menu. And then keep going.
Undo dimmed button.
Well, we don't have anything to undo right now because we haven't done anything yet. And you can also shake to undo, by the way.
Format dimmed button.
Okay, the format menu is also not available right now because we have no text selected. In fact, we don't even have any text yet. So go to the right.
More button.
There's a more button. That's the button we used to get that screen view turned off. And then if you go to the right,
reading view button.
There's reading view. Now, reading view is kind of like when we described reading view in notes where you're not editing. The keyboard goes away, but you can still read the document. So if you open an existing document in reader view, then it will say edit instead of reading view. And you can double tap on edit to start editing. You can also magic tap to exit reader view, although I can't right now because I would hang up on the Zoom call. And let's go to the right.
Canvas, body, text field. Double tap to edit.
And
double tap to edit.
That's
Use
really
the body.
it. Now
Canvas,
listen.
Body, text field.
Listen to the hints.
Double tap to edit. Double tap to edit. Use the rotor to access document headings, links, misspelled words, comments, highlights, bookmarks.
Look at all the things that we're going to see in the rotor. This is the main area where we're going to write, and it's called body. We don't have a header or a footer. We're not going to do that today. We may do it tomorrow, but we're not going to look at it today. So I just want to double tap this.
In body, text field is editing. Insertion point at start.
And just like
double tap to edit.
Just like with, notes or anything else, I can literally just start writing. Now, as I said, I am going to use the mechanical keyboard. I'll ask you to bear with any noise that you might hear while I set that up because I need to turn my iPad around, flip the keyboard out, and it may get a little noisy. I apologize in advance if it does. All right.
Keyboard hidden.
We're all set. Now, notice it said keyboard hidden because I brought out my physical keyboard. And I can just start typing, and we'll call it class test for iPad. Again, this is not the document name now, it's the document title. People will see this.
Class D colon new line.
We'll say hello everyone.
E space
Period shortcut. This is
space T S U space beautiful.
autocorrect works just great.
D space D exclamation new line.
All right, let's type some more. I'll read back what I've typed in. All right, I know what we'll do.
Space what G call new space G call new line space U space S new S new line documents up space E R T insert period.
Okay.
Document new line.
Now we may add more to this document, but we've got a basic document. Let's read it.
Reading view, canvas, body, text field, is editing, class test for iPad. Hello everyone. This is a test for the iPad class. It is a beautiful day out today, praise God. What we're learning. Today we are learning the following. How to create new pages documents, how to format your documents, how to insert objects into your documents.
Okay.
Insertion point at end.
I have already.
Double tap to edit.
I've
Use
already.
the rotor to access document headings. Link.
Press Control to stop that. I've already shown you how to work with text to some degree in Notes, but we're going to apply a lot of those same features and Principles to the Pages app. And one of the first things that I think we should do is make the title stand out. I think we should use the title style. You remember paragraph styles from notes? There's like title, heading, body. Well, right now this is all body style. But I can make the title, the actual title style, and it will automatically increase the font size and it will bold my text. So let's go back up to the top, and I'll use Command up arrow to do that.
Class test for iPad.
We also went over that if you missed it. That's all on the podcast. All right. Now I'm going to use Shift Option right arrow to select the title here. Class test for iPad.
Class selected. Selected. For iPad selected.
Okay. And I don't know if the 3-finger tap will...
Canvas. Selected text. Class test for iPad body. Helvetica Neue. 11 point. Line spacing. Single. Black 0. Natural alignment. Double tap to edit. Pages.
All right. Praise God. It did do what I wanted it to do. It told me what text was selected. I don't know. Hope you heard that.
Canvas. Selected text. Class test for iPad body. Helvetica
See, it
Neue.
did, and it told me that it's body text. We want to change this, and we want to make it paragraph, title paragraph style. Now, I could just do like Command B to bold right now, Command I to italicize, but I actually want to use the format menu. So let's swipe to the left.
Reading view. More. Button. Format. Button.
Notice that's available now. Let's double tap on it. Can you get that big?
Text. Heading. Body. Button.
Notice it's body text right now. But I'm going to double tap on that button.
Body. Paragraph style. Heading.
See?
Body. Button.
And we're going to make it body text. I mean, we're going to make it we're going to make it title text.
Title.
So you have title.
Subtitle. Heading. Heading 2. Heading 3. Heading red. Selected. Body. Caption.
Look at all these different choices. And for your information, the higher the heading number, the smaller the text will appear on the screen. And so what they're calling heading, some people would call heading level 1. But that's just the regular heading, and then you have heading 2, heading 3, and so on. We want title. So let's swipe back to the left.
Head. Subtitle. Selected. Title.
Okay. Now I'm going to hit the back button, so I'll go to the left some more.
Edit. Paragraph style. Text. Back button.
All right. Automatically, let's
Title. Button.
Let's see what that's done.
Paragraph style. Title. Button.
So let's swipe to the right.
Font. Helvetica Neue. Button. Selected. Bold.
Okay,
Button.
it already bolded it, so that's good. And it probably made a larger font size.
Italic. Button. Underline. Strike through. More text option. Size. Size. 30 points. Adjustable.
Now I can tell you that
Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value. Use the...
I can tell you that normally the text in a Pages document is, I want to say it's 10 point or 11 point by default. So it definitely increased it significantly, substantially to 30 point, and it bolded it. I want to do a couple more things to it. So I'm going to go ahead and select italic also.
Underline. Italic. But selected. Italic.
And I'm going to go to the right.
More size. Size. 30. Text color. Black 0.
We're going to change that too for fun. But let's also center this text. So go to the right.
Selected. Align left. Align center. Align right.
Notice
Button.
you have align left. We're going to say align center.
Align center. Button. Selected. Align center.
Okay, and I can review that.
Align left. Button. Selected. Align center.
See, I can tell that that's now centered because that's selected. Let's change the color.
Size. More text. Strike through.
In fact,
Button.
let's change the font.
Underline. Selected.
We've never done
Italic.
that.
Selected.
So
font. Update. Font. Helvetica Neue.
Let's go in here. Let's pick a different font.
More info. Futuro. More info. Euphemia use. DI. More in D dot. Devanagari sent. Deco typeness elite Urdu. Damascus. Button.
I don't know what most of these.
More courier new. Copperplate. Koken. Charter. More info. Chalkboard SE.
Oh, that looks cool. Chalkboard. I don't know what that looks like, but we're going to use that.
Selected. Chalkboard SE. Button.
And I'll do a 4-finger tap near the top left.
Text. Back button.
To go back. Okay?
Font, chalkboard SE, button.
So it's not
Title
Helvetica.
star, button.
Now, the rest of the text is still Helvetica, but this title is not.
Up, title star.
Now,
Up, font, selected.
let's,
bold, select, size, text, a lot, text color, black 0.
I want to change the color.
Selected, reset, button.
We don't want preset, we want
Color, button.
color.
Selected, color.
And let's look at some of these colors.
Gray image, but white, gray 1, gray 2, gray 3, gray, select cyan, selected.
There's the black.
Black, cyan 9, blue 9, indigo 9, purple 9, pink 9.
Let's just make it pink. That way we'll make it something unique. And
selected, pink 9.
And again,
dark pink.
I'll back up to the top here.
Text, back button.
Now,
title star, button.
I want to show you something. Notice paragraph style.
Paragraph style, heading.
Says title, but there's a star with it now.
Title star, button.
And to its right,
update button.
There's an update button. Why is that? Well, because you might remember when I chose title style, it made the certain changes that it wanted to make. It increased the font size to 30, and it bolded the text. But you also know we've made additional changes since then. We've changed the color. We've centered the text. We italicized the text. We even changed the font. I can hit the update button, and if I should choose to do that, any time for the duration of this document that I would use title style, it's automatically going to have those new changes that I made included in it. Now, it's only for this document. It doesn't change it for all of Pages, just for the document you're working on. But if I decide I want to do that, I can hit the update button. I'll not do that right now, though. What I instead will do is just swipe out of this with a 2-finger scrub.
Canvas, body, text field.
And I'll use the right arrow to deselect this text.
Class test for iPad, unselected.
Now I want to show you, as I read through this now, line by line or word by word.
New line. Hello everyone. This is a test for the iPad class. It is a beautiful day out today. Praise God. Body, 11 point, not bold. Helvetica Neue, natural alignment.
It gave me a lot of information there. It's body text, it's not bold, it's natural alignment. It's Helvetica. It gave me all that information. Let's go up and see what happens when we get to the title.
New line. Class test for iPad, 30 point, bold. Helvetica Neue, censor justified.
It told me a lot of information, and I think if I press the Control Option T.
Helvetica Neue, 30 point, line spacing, single, black 0, bold, censor justified.
Now, it said black, though. I thought we made it pink. Let me look.
Colon.
Maybe it's...
D, A. Alpha.
Let's check it.
Chalkboard SE light, 30 point, line spacing, single, dark pink 8, bold, italic,
yeah.
Censor justified.
There it is. I guess that the colon wasn't... I didn't have that selected. So, this is correct. Listen one more time. Everything we did worked.
Chalkboard SE light, 30 point, line spacing, single, dark pink 8, bold, italic, censor justified.
Okay? All of that information is there, and as you navigate, it reads most of that to you as well. But if you ever want to check, you can press Control Option T, which reads the current attributes. You can also do a 3-finger single tap on the screen, and it'll do that same thing. So this is where we are. We've made a change to the formatting here, and let's go back down now to the next line.
New line, Helvetica Neue, black 0, not italic. New line, body, 11 point, not bold. Helvetica Neue, natural alignment.
Okay.
New line. What we're learning.
Okay.
New line. Hello everyone. This is a test for the iPad class. It is a beautiful day out today. Praise God. New line. What we're learning.
All right. I need to make that text stand out a little bit, what we're learning. So I'm going to select that text. We're going to make that heading text, and I think I'll just probably leave it alone then. But let's select it.
What we're learning. Selected.
Well, let's go to the Format menu.
Reading more. Format. Button.
And let's...
Body. Button. Title. Subheading.
Heading.
Title. Selected. Heading.
There we go.
Subtitle. Title. Edit. Paragraph styles. Text. Back button.
Let's see what that has done.
Head. Font. Helvetica Neue. But. Selected. bold, italic, underline, strike through, more text options, size, 18 points,
Okay.
adjustable.
That's still plenty
Swipe.
big, bigger than the 11 point. So now let's just scrub out of this.
Text, heading.
And let's press the right arrow to deselect it.
What we're learning, unselected.
All right. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to make bullet points for these.
New line.
Remember this?
Today we are learning the following. Body, new line. How to create new pages documents. How to format your documents. How to insert objects into your documents. Misspelled.
Now, if I had really been thinking about it, I would have actually turned on the bullets before I wrote those lines. But usually we can make it work even if we didn't. So what we're going to do is go right here.
How to create new pages. S at T cap H.
Right before the H,
Hotel.
and I'm going to turn on bullets. So I might have to do a little editing here and a little bit of text gymnastics to get this to work, but it will work. All right, that actually will show you a real world, if you didn't turn it on ahead of time. Simple if you did. We kind of demonstrated that, I think, in notes anyway. But let's go to the format menu here.
More format button.
We want to go to list, bullets and lists. So
Body.
go to the right.
Subtext, bullets and lists, none, button.
Okay, we're going to double tap that.
Selected, none, button.
And we're going to go to the right.
More info, bullet, button, bullet big, image, lettered.
So we have
button.
a lot of choices, but let's
Numbered.
Let's stick with bullets.
Bullet big, bullet, button. Selected, bullet.
Okay.
Selected, bullet, button.
Let's go back.
Text, back button.
And let's
Bullets and
scrub
lists,
out.
bullet, button, body, back button.
All right, let's
List item bullet, body, list item
see
bullet.
what happens here.
Cap 8, new line, list item bullet. How to create new pages documents.
All right,
Enter
so
list.
it put one there. What I doubt that it did, though, is...
How to format your documents.
Right, okay, but I can fix that very easily. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the beginning of that line.
Cap H.
This is the correct line.
How to format your documents. Cap H.
And I'm going to delete
Hotel.
the little, the return that was just to the left of it.
New line.
And I'm going to press return now.
Bullet, new list item.
And it put it in there. See, I told you, praise God, we had to do a little bit of text gymnastics, but not a big deal. All right, so now I have two bullets.
List item bullet. How to create new pages documents. List item bullet. How to format your documents.
And then the third one's probably not bulleted either.
How to insert objects into your documents.
But again,
Exited
no
list.
problem.
Cap
We can fix that. Delete,
New line.
return.
New line.
Okay, why did it not?
New line.
Let's try that again.
List item
Oh,
bullet. S.
Because,
S.
well,
Bullet.
yeah.
New list
There we
item.
go. I had to just make sure I was in the right place. Right after the S of the previous one, and then I'll...
List item bullet. Cap H. O. List item bullet. How to insert objects into your documents.
And then...
New line. Exited list. New line.
Now we're two blank lines after, so we're definitely outside of the bullets now. All right. Let's read this document now.
Read it. Canvas. Body. Text field. Is editing. Class test for iPad. Hello everyone. This is a test for the iPad class. It is a beautiful day out today, praise God. What we're learning. Today we are learning the following. How to create new pages documents. How to format your documents. How to insert objects into your documents. Insertion point at end. Double tap to edit. Use the rotor to access document headings, links, misspelled words.
Now I'll pause that. Now, it didn't read the bullets when I did the automatic, just letting it read by itself, but I can go line by line and know that...
List item bullet. How to format list item bullet.
All right,
How to
praise
create
God.
new
See, they're
pages
there.
document.
So everything
line.
looks great. Everything looks really, really great here. And certainly... I apologize for the puppy barking. I don't know what she's barking at. I'm not sure if she knows right now what she's barking at. But, you know, let me see. All right, just 1 second here. Okay. All right. So, what we have is something where you already kind of know a lot of this advanced editing and stuff from notes, and that was my goal because that makes Pages a lot easier to comprehend and more user-friendly now. And tomorrow we're going to get into doing some really advanced stuff in Pages. I want to do a couple more things today, though. So I think you know how to do misspelled words because we did look at fixing those in notes. You can use the on-screen, the rotor option, or you can also use, remember, Control Option Command E as in echo to go to the next misspelling, Control Option Command Shift E to go to the previous one, and we also have the auto correct, which is going to fix a lot of that stuff for us. So I don't think, any misspellings in here.
Class test
And that's
for
good, praise God. Let's just check, but I don't think I do. Nope, there are none. Okay, all right. If I wanted to, maybe I want, let's just do, I'm just thinking about, let's do some manual formatting, like
new line, body, Helvetica.
Pages is
Space,
a
space,
very
powerful
powerful
period
app.
new line,
Two blank lines.
new line,
Now,
new line. Pages is a very,
let's say I want to bold the word very, so I'll select it,
very
and I'll
selected.
just do Command B for bold. Then I'll go out of it.
Very space.
And let's go.
P.
If I read it now,
Over app period.
reading backwards in that line.
Powerful. Very bold. Helvetica Neue. A. Alpha not bold. Helvetica Neue.
See? So we know it worked. Praise God. We have the word very bolded now. Okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to insert a link in here together. And I will tell you that, let me write another sentence here.
New line. New line.
We'll say Apple makes a lot of great products.
Period. Products. Space. Period.
I put
out.
check them out.
New Apple makes a lot of great products. Check them out.
And let's select check them out.
Apple. Check. Check. Product period. Cap C.
Check
Check them out.
Selected. And I think what we're going to do, probably the easiest way to do this is using the rotor right now while those words are selected. Let's
bookmarks, actions, add comment, text format, page format.
Look at all these things in the actions rotor.
Bookmark, drag text, activate, default.
But let's keep turning to edit.
Bookmarks, highlights, comments, misspelled words, links. Document headings, edit.
Now links is to go through existing links. We want to add a link, and I think that's in edit.
Highlight, delete, highlight, bookmark, copy, comment, link.
Yep.
Copy style.
Look at the other ones first.
Cut, translate, select all, text format, page format, delete, highlight, bookmark.
All right.
Copy,
so
comment, link.
Link, double tap.
Display, check them out, text field.
Notice it already has.
Double tap to edit display name.
Now
double
notice
tap to edit.
It already has the display name of what we want. Check them out. I'm not going to edit that. It's already there. It's correct. What's displayed on the screen? Let's go to the next one.
Link to.
Link to.
Web page button.
We can link to a web page.
Link www.apple.com. Text.
If I double tap that, I could also choose to link to other things. I think like other documents maybe, or email, different kinds of things. But I'm just going to leave it on web page.
Link,
go to the edit field here.
www.apple.com. Text field.
I'm going to
link.
type
text field is editing.
The URL of the Apple Store. And it's actually going to be
text field is editing.
store.apple.com.
Remove button keyboard web page display link settings heading back button.
Hit back.
Link open link button.
There's an open link button. You can try it out.
Store.apple.com heading store.open copy button link settings link settings.
We're just going to scrub out of this.
Body.
And deselect.
Text
now notice.
Check them out. Link. Unselected. Period. New line. Apple makes a lot of great products. Check them out.
Read it again, bye.
Apple makes a lot of great products. Period. Check them out. Link. Selected.
And it's selected, which means if I double tap.
In store.apple.open link button. Keep Safari.
It's going to open.
Safari. Close. Store. Heading level 1.
And look, it took me
Main
right to the Apple
landmark.
Store. Cool, right?
The latest. Take a look at what's new right now.
Praise God. There we go.
MacBook Air. Link.
And let's go back. 4-finger swipe to the right.
Pages.
And I want to make sure
Check them out. Check them out. Let new line.
I can press.
New line.
Okay. Yeah, nothing's selected now, so we're good. I also, I told you that misspelled words is available in the rotor, and that's so important. I know we demonstrated it before, but I also think you can have, I think there's a replace option in the edit menu if you have indeed misspelled something. And then if I select it, like, I don't know, let me just try something really weird here.
OQ.
If I type HOQ instead of HOW,
Space.
it's going to replace that.
How?
Right? So that autocorrect, that's great. Praise God.
Space.
Let's do something really, really weird.
EPW space. Airport misspelled.
There's no way it's going to find a word for that. But I can use normal misspelled words in the rotor, but I also want to show you.
Airport selected.
If you select it and then you go to the edit rotor.
Bookmark file comp missed links. Document had edit.
I think.
Bookmark link. Book pile, copy, cut, translate, select all, text format, page format, delete, define, replace. Yeah,
there's a replace option. You can double tap on that and get a list of choices. I'm sure it's not going to have anything because I really, really misspelled that extremely, so it wouldn't autocorrect. But you could try that. Double tap on it once it's selected. In the edit rotor, there's a replace option. There's also a define option.
Define.
For the dictionary.
Copy.
And of course, copy.
Comment.
All those things. Now,
document
I need
headings,
to. So I'm going to manually
Whiskey, airport selected. New line.
There's no way.
New
right.
line. New
okay,
line.
so
new line. Apple makes a lot of new line. How are you?
I just added the words "How are you" in there. That's all. And then the last thing we're going to do today.
New space. New space.
Is let's insert a shape together, shall we? In fact, let me show you what's in the insert media options first, just so.
Read more, format, undo, share, insert media.
Because this is a good one to know. We'll do something with this maybe tomorrow. But
photo or video.
I just want to show you what you can insert. You can insert a photo or video.
Photo or video. Camera.
You can use the camera right now to take a photo or video and insert it directly into your document.
Record audio.
You can record audio directly into the Pages document.
Web video.
You can insert web video, meaning like I have a link to a YouTube video that I want to insert or something.
Image gallery.
Okay, we can create an image gallery where we put a series of images into our document, but they're one object. And this is especially cool in keynote presentations and in books. In my Titanic book that I wrote using the Pages app, I inserted an image gallery of Titanic photos. You have color photos and everything, and you can go through them. They have voiceover labels. Maybe I'll show you some of that tomorrow, but you can give them voiceover labels and everything.
Insert from.
Insert from means I just find something in iCloud in the Files app somewhere and I insert it.
Drawing.
We can insert a drawing, remember, with our finger or with the Apple Pencil.
Equation.
And then that's it.
Button.
So let me
Equation.
Go out of that.
Canvas.
And let's
Reading
instead
view.
go
More.
Oh, you know what else I want to show you? I want to show you what those outdent things are because you keep hearing that. These are on the screen as quick shortcuts.
Outdent, dimmed, indent, button, font family, button, keyboard, button, cap I, P, I'm.
Those are your typing suggestions, auto quick type.
Dictation, dimmed, button.
Yeah.
Font size, button. Align left.
Font
button.
size,
insert,
align.
button.
Insert. Yeah, that's a different kind of insert than the ones that we have up above. The ones we had up above were like media and shape and, table. But listen to the insert options down here in this shortcut menu.
Comment. Page break. Line break.
Insert a line break, a page break, a comment.
Section break.
Section break.
Column break. Page number. Page count.
You can insert a page number, page count.
Date and time.
Look at all that.
Bookmark. Footnote. Table of contents. Table of contents.
All right. So that's a little bit of a preview.
Footnote.
For
dismiss pop-up.
What we're going to be looking at tomorrow.
Canvas,
some of this
body,
more advanced
plastic.
stuff. I think what I really want to do is go ahead and take questions today. I think we've shown you enough for one day. I don't want to overwhelm you. Tomorrow we're going to come back and do some more advanced things. We'll insert a shape. We will maybe look at the table of contents and look at the difference between a digital table of contents and a written table of contents for a print book. We'll look at facing pages and some of these other things you may want to do if you're writing columns or writing a book or whatever. but try to cover as much of that as we can tomorrow without overwhelming you then either. But I think this is a good place to stop for today.
Canvas, body, back button,
Go back,
pages,
and return to Zoom. And what we've done
you are sharing screen, share device,
is we've given you a bit of an introduction on Pages and enough for you to play with and create some documents.
Thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.